Yo, what's going on, guys? Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're actually going to do a draft.
So there's an idea Ale had, and I actually really liked it. So what we decided to do is that we picked the 5 last champions, and we got all of the players that played during that playoff run, and we divided into different tiers. At the top is obviously the superstars, then is the all-stars, then the other starter role players, and then the bench.
Some rules before we get started is that you have to pick at least one player from every team. That includes the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Bucks, the Lakers, and the Raptors. I mean, that's basically it for rules.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. You're gonna get it as we go along. It's not complicated at all. So let's just get straight into it.
First, we're gonna start with the all-star picks. From this list, we're actually gonna pick 2 people. The list is right here. So yeah, let's begin.
I got the first pick. And with the first pick, I'm actually picking somebody you might not expect, knowing if you know me. I'm actually going to go with Nikola Jokic, and it's because I just believe that he presents the biggest matchup problems for the other teams. And I could be a president of the moment. I know LeBron back then was really good. Obviously, Giannis played great in those finals. But I think that Jokic is taking it to another level, and the way he outperformed everybody in those playoffs last year, I should have to go with him.
It's a really good pickup. Let me see. All right, I think I have to pick this guy. I'm going to have to pick LeBron James. This year, he was an MVP candidate, led the league in assists, and in the bubble, this guy turned it up to another level. I felt like this was his last really, really true dominant season, and he led the Lakers to a championship. They had one of the most dominant playoff runs in a minute.
Cannot disagree with that. With my second pick, I'm going to go ahead and pick up Giannis. The way I see it, bro, is that Jokic and Aaron Gordon have been such a great duo. Why not give him somebody that's like Aaron Gordon on crack, pretty much? Yeah. Giannis this year, it felt like this was the year that his flaws were the least exposed. He was able to be himself the most. I think the team was constructed really well, and the team that I'm gonna make right now for him is gonna be even better. So Giannis is gonna be able to free roam more, be out the ball more, be in that dunker spot, be able to be himself still at times, driving in the fast break, and he has great defense. He won Defensive Player of the Year before, and his defense obviously is still amazing to this day. So I love that duo, Jokic and Giannis.
All right, and with my last pick from the All-Star round, I'm going to have to take Anthony Davis, man. This is a big that you can put on Giannis and Jokic. Obviously, I need as much size as possible if I'm going to compete with his team. In the bubble, he shot lights out from 3, from 2, from the mid-range, from anywhere. He played great throughout the entire run. Obviously, him and LeBron are one of, if not the best duo in the NBA.
That's a great pickup. And now moving on to the lower tier stars, I'm going to go ahead and pick up a guy who, when it comes to playoffs, plays down like a superstar, and Jamal Murray. Jokic's teammate. People have talked about how fit-wise, they arguably have the best fit out of all the duos in the NBA right now. And he's just, like I was saying, turns it up to another level in the playoffs. The scoring is insane. The shot making. He was arguably the second best player in most series last year. Yeah. In all the way, even in a series that included LeBron and AD last year. So I think that's perfect, man. You're giving Giannis a shooter. You're giving Jokic the best player he has played with. So, yeah, cannot go wrong with that pick.
That's a great pickup. You guys know how much I hate Jamal Murray in the playoffs. One of the best playoff players in the league. So I'm about to pick someone that can kind of slow him down a little bit. And we've seen this guy slow down offensive players in the past, and that's Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was that missing piece for the Bucks that really took them to another level, to that championship level. This is a guy that can shoot. This is a guy who can play make. He can play both on and off the ball. I think he's going to fit really, really well alongside LeBron. Obviously, he played with AD, one of his best teammates ever. So this is just, to me, a pretty obvious pickup, especially with his Jamal Murray pickup.
Now we're going to move on to the starters. The starters are still role players, but we're still super important to all of the championship teams. And the starter, I'm actually going to go with a guy who was in 2 championship teams in the past 5 years, in KCP. And more specifically, I'm going to pick the Nuggets version, because I believe that he was actually better that year. Great shooter, great defender. I feel like he fully figured out who he was and who he's going to be for the years to come. And talk about a guy who right now is becoming like the new age version of Danny Green.
Definitely. And since you're going to pick up the new age version of Danny Green, I'm going to have to pick up the actual Danny Green. This is just an obvious pick to me. I needed a shooting guard. Obviously, this is not the Spurs Danny Green, unfortunately. I'm going to pick up the Lakers Danny Green, although I think he had a better season with the Raptors. I think in the playoffs he played slightly better with the Lakers. This is a guy that can shoot the ball. This is a guy that can defend at a high level. We saw what he was able to do with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, James Harden, Jamal Murray. He had an insanely dominant defensive playoff run, super underrated to both the Raptors and the Lakers. So Danny Green is going to have to be my pick.
That's another great pickup. And then I'm kind of stuck with this last pick. I didn't really have a clear choice. I was thinking of Michael Porter Jr., but I just wanted to go with a better defender. Somebody that those whole playoffs had tough assignments as well in P.J. Tucker. He had to guard KD in that second round, even though KD had one of his, arguably his best years of all time. Yeah. he had to earn every single bucket that he got. He was playing super tough defense, and he's just the guy you can tell to sit in the corner. He's not gonna get mad. He's gonna hustle.
That's a tough pickup. I think you're just gonna put Giannis at small forward, right?
Yeah, whatever. They can go back and forth.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter. Position us.
All right. With my last pick, I'm gonna have to pick someone that can hold down the fort a little bit on the defensive end. I'm gonna need a big to pair alongside Anthony Davis, and I think this is probably like my most underrated pickup. I'm gonna have to pick up Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol was really that finishing touch on that Raptors championship team. When they traded for him, they took that team to another level. The defense that he was able to play on Vucevic, the defense that he was able to play on Joel Embiid, etc. He was super dominant defensively. He helped out the Raptors so much win that championship, and I feel like this was his last true really good year. He's a guy that can space the floor as well, and he's actually also played alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis. I think if someone is able to stop Jokic even a little bit, I think it's Marc Gasol. He kind of has that sort of Jokic type play style, and I think him and AD together, they can really hold it down against Giannis and Jokic.
I mean, you couldn't have picked a better player out of those to stop Jokic. So I'm going to go ahead and say my starting lineup before moving on to the bench. At point guard, I got Jamal Murray. Shooting guard, KCP, Nuggets edition. And then I got PJ Tucker, let's just say on the John as a power forward. And center, I got Jokic.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to put Drew Holiday. Shooting guard, Lakers, Danny Green. Small forward, LeBron. Power forward, AD. And at center, Marc Gasol. Now, let's move on to the bench. From the bench, we got to pick 5 guys. Only rule is it does have to be accurate positions.
Starting off with my first pick of the bench, I'm gonna pick up the second player in the front court for the Raptors, in Serge Ibaka. He was super solid that year. I feel like he went a bit on the radar, so had great defense. He was developing the shot even more, and I actually think that's a guy you can easily slide into a starting lineup if you need to.
Yeah.
He can play with Jokic, he can play with Giannis, he can stretch the floor. So I just think that's somebody you can't go wrong.
It's a great pickup. I'm about to pick up another Raptor, Fred VanVleet. This guy really became who we know him as in that championship run, especially after his kid was born. This guy balled out all the way to the finals run. He was one of the most impactful players offensively. This is a tough defender. He can space the floor, and he kind of just provides that different look off the bench. And he can play with Danny Green. He can play with Drew Holiday. So just a nice little fit.
With my next pick, I'm gonna pick somebody that's known for his performances in the playoffs. Somebody in the last few years of his career, and the regular season he didn't exist, but then we'll get to playoffs and all of a sudden he'll turn up. And I'm talking about Rajon Rondo. Rondo for the Bulls a few years earlier had gone crazy. Honestly, I thought it was just like a coincidence, but then I saw with the Lakers, he really turned it up, and I'm like, where did this come from? He was generally like the Lakers' third best player during that whole run, I would say. And he's somebody that can come off the bench, facilitate, be the leader of the bench. He even shot threes a little bit in that playoff run, so I love this guy for us, and Rajon Rondo.
Now with my next pickup, I do want some more front court depth, some guy that can space the floor, some guy that can also shoot. Just because you went with Ibaka, and obviously I already have Mark and AD, but I'm just gonna add another piece to that, an absolute dog, kind of the guy that's gonna do the little things for you off the bench, and that's gonna have to be Bobby Portis. I think he was really good for the championship run for the Bucks. Obviously, the city of Milwaukee loves him for a reason.
I'm going to go with somebody that's honestly underrated. Somebody that just got waived today in Otto Porter Jr. I feel like people forget that he was on that team, forget that he was actually a pretty good player.
He started a lot, too.
A classic ass 3-and-D player, you know. And on the bench, he can just be the 3-and-D player. He can also start. That's somebody I like to do. I like to pick players that can play with anybody. And Otto Porter Jr. is one of those people I can play with anybody on my team and anybody in any team, to be honest.
This is where it's going to start to get a bit tough. I'm going to have to pick up Bruce Brown. Talk about a guy that you can plug into that starting lineup. He started a lot of the games for Jamal Murray. He's one of the most versatile people on this list. He can play the 1 through the 4, and we saw him do that with the Nets, with the Nuggets. He was essential. The way that he was able to completely slow down D'Angelo Russell, the way that he was able to be that 6-man for the Nuggets, a huge piece for them off the bench. That's why he got the contract that he got. And just a solid guy that can do a little bit of everything. He can shoot, he can defend at a super high level, he can rebound the ball. Just a really, really solid player, and he'll fit perfectly with my team. And even though he's not the best shooter, I do have some shooters around him.
Bruce Brown last year was very important, and they're going to miss him when it comes to the playoffs. But with my next pick, this really is where it gets tough because everybody else is like not as good. I'm going to go ahead and pick out Kuzma. You can argue that other players fit more, but I think I already have enough fit. I think at this point I just want talent. Somebody that is capable of having the day he's hot from 3. Somebody that can drive in. Kuzma is a versatile player, and I kind of actually hurt him during that run. He didn't have a clear role, but I think I have so many other players that if he's not having that good of a night, that's fine. I can afford it. But if he is having that good of a night, then I can give him more minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, that's a really good pickup. Obviously, you guys know how much I like Kuzma. He wasn't the best in that run. I do think there's some players that might have fit a bit better. But I do like your reasoning for it. I really do. That's a great reason. I feel like that's maybe something that my team is lagging. I know I got a little bit with Fred and Bobby, but they're not that stereotypical scorer. There's really nobody left. I know that Jordan Poole's still on the table, and maybe I am underrating him a little bit.
1 hour later.
I'm about to pick up Alex Caruso. I think this was his first season really being kind of that.
An actual player.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's not the defender at this time that he is now. Obviously an All-NBA defender. But he was getting there. He was super versatile. He actually started in Game 6 versus the Heat. He was a huge part for them all season. He's another guy, kind of like Bruce Brown. You can't have enough of those players that just do a little bit of everything. He can guard multiple positions. He can shoot. He can play make. That's just a solid guy. Obviously, I don't need him to play that many minutes, but that's a guy that I know will play well with LeBron and AD.
Yeah, that's true. To end that off, I'm going to pick up a player that we were just talking about yesterday. If it was right now, this guy would have damn near gone number 1 on the bench. He really is that good. He has become this good of a player. And even though he wasn't as good as he is now back then,
Who are you going to pick?
I think he was still solid enough to get minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up my guy, Norman Powell.
He is not your guy. We talked about him yesterday.
Yeah, we did talk about him. Did I not just say? Yeah. Powell, that year, he got minutes. And he was still a good shooter. He was still developing into who he is now. But it's my last pickup. He can shoot. He's still at his big moments, so
he can defend too.
Yeah,
solid
exactly,
ass player.
And he's kind of tall. He's like 6'7", right?
He's just not. He's 6'4".
He looks taller than he is. But he's still a good defender.
Well, my last pick off the bench, I'm about to pick Nemanja Bjelica.
Because he has to pick a Warriors.
Yeah, because I had to pick a Warriors player. That was my rule. I guess I shouldn't have made it, but shit, I had to.
You already did.
Yeah. No, this is a guy that actually played for them. He was super solid. Obviously, he's a champion for a reason. He started some games too. This is a guy that he can shoot, and he's a big. I think I need some more size off the bench, kind of like that 4. This guy can play next to AD, allowing us to play a bit smaller. He's kind of like that Markieff Morris type role. He's obviously not the defender that Markieff was, but he kind of fits that style. But yeah, man, I just needed to pick him up though.
Yeah, stop glazing him. Right? He was alright. Just to round it off, I got Murray, KCP, Tucker, Giannis, Jokic, and on the bench. Rondo, Norman Powell, Otto Porter Jr., Kuzma, and Ibaka.
Obviously, I got Drew, Danny Green, LeBron, AD, and Marc Gasol. Then off the bench, I got Fred VanVleet, Alex Caruso, Bruce Brown, Nemanja Bjelica, and Bobby Portis.
Remember that these are the players from back then, so
yeah.
Don't look at Fred VanVleet and it's like, oh, you have an all-star on the bench. Let us know you guys' thoughts in the comments. We might do stuff like this more in the future. We thought it was fun.
You guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let us know.
Let us know who won.
Let us know
who seems better.
Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Please like, subscribe, and peace out.
Peace out.